Yo, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another session of Meter Burn. We're just hot off the trails of final round and all at ish like that. But before we jump right into it, how you doing, Katie?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Bobby.
Hey, all right. So I'm gonna have you bring in our guest here, and you guys can shoot the stuff since I wasn't at final round. So
Hey, David, how are you?
Tired, but I'm here.
that's the spirit.
Yeah.
So you were one of the main guys in orchestrating and holding down the house at final round, huh?
Yes, if that's what you can call what we did this year. I think that's something like that.
So because it's such a big event and everything, we were sort of wondering, what goes into, well, I was going to say the whole history and everything of final round, and then even how you guys would prepare in so many people making all those brackets, making sure, you have enough stations and everything runs, on time. And then including, how everything was so exciting. But I mean, before we hit all of that, let's talk about you, as a person first. How did you get involved, like in fighting games, and what's your history a little bit?
All right. Fighting games. All right. To tell you, like, to go as far back, but give you the for dummies version. Like, I was born and raised in Jamaica, and growing up there, we all watched like a bunch of like karate movies and crazy stuff like that. And that automatically translated into playing fighting games.
Hmm.
So when I was younger, I used to play fighting games, and then when we moved to the states, we moved to Florida, and we used to play at a place called uh, what is it, Grand Prix, and we used to
Okay.
play all the old school Capcom games. So you're talking about Super Turbo, Hyper Edition, and Alpha came out. I even used to play Tekken back in the day, Soul
Oh.
Calibur, like any fighting game that was out, we played it. Virtual Fighter, everything, So like, uh, it was just it's nuts, I was always playing those games, and then real life kicked in like a couple of years later, and got married and all this other stuff, and I found that I wasn't going to arcades as much, but I still wanted the competition, so I wanted to bring the competition to me. So me and a couple guys from Florida, like Nico and some other guys I used to mess with, my boy Alex, he's always at tournaments with me. We
Uh-huh.
decided to start throwing tournaments, um, and
So
that's
about
how I
what
started.
year is this? What year are we looking at here?
Ooh, we're talking about like, um,
Early 90s?
yeah, like no, late '90s, like '99 ish. We
Okay.
started doing tournaments. And back in like oh 02 is when I started like doing my own stuff with other people. We went to Broward Community College,
Okay.
Arcade Renaissance. If you Google Arcade Renaissance right now, you could still see some of the posts from back in the day when we did tournaments at BCC. So
Oh.
we back then we did Halo, we did a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? It was just crazy because it was on a college campus, so we had to like accommodate for the kids as well. So that was kind of nuts. But that was it. I remember before I got into that though, like the crazy way how I met Larry is because I heard about Final Round from my friends that were competing. Like I didn't know how big the fighting game competition scene was
Uh-huh.
because I used to compete at that local arcade. So, back where we're from, we used to call it the Bush League because, you're the king of the Bush League because nobody knew anything outside of the bush. And if you're top of that hill, you're king fish. But when your eyes get opened up to the world, back then we met like when we first met Peter Flash Metroid. Then there's like people like Tony Big Five Hernandez, and then there's all the Alexes that's out of Florida. So you got Alex J. Bailey. There's two more Alexes. I can't remember their names, but they're really big in the fighting game. Like back when Alpha 3 was big, like they fought Daigo and they went to New York and all of this stuff. They were pretty good at the games. I can't, the life of me, I can't remember them.
Yeah. That's
And
okay.
yeah, so those dudes were there and like, they opened up my eyes to like final round. And I remember like messaging Larry, like literally. I sent him.
Now he's still in Atlanta at this point, right?
Right. Larry's
Okay.
from Atlanta at this point, and I'm still in Florida. And I had no idea how to run tournaments. I had no idea how to keep like the FGC happy because like there was this place called shoryuken.com and I'd never heard of it. And I go on to shoryuken.com and like there's like this place of hate and and like people trash talk you for no reason. That's why even mentioning your name. You know what I mean? Like your grammar had to be on point. Everything. Like shoryuken.com was a place where you're like you became a man because if you weren't a man when you went on there, they would make you one. You know,
Yeah.
back in the day, it was pretty. Yo, when I said shoryuken.com was bad, it was bad, and I'm talking like I'm a grown man and I'm going on there. And I'm like, yo, my feelings are hurt, and this 12-year-old talking to me on the other end of the computer, and I'm like, wait a minute. You're still living at home? Man, you better shut up. Sorry.
There was a
But
12-year-old on Xbox Live there for a while. Do you remember that? It was
yeah,
Bobby. Wasn't that just like even a couple months ago? Remember that kid that was on there? He was bad mouthing everybody.
What was that? Oh yeah, yeah. That's just online as a
Online
whole. Yeah.
craziness, You never know who
I
you're
guess.
talking to.
But it never changes. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that like when you're behind a computer screen in the safety of a pseudonym, you're gonna say whatever.
Yeah, people
Uh,
always get salty.
yeah, exactly, exactly. The salt is definitely real. Uh, the but other than that, like before I got into the FGC really in serious, I sent Larry a letter. I sent literally, like I'm not even trying to give a pun here, but I think the letter might have been 4 pages long with questions, and he answered every one of them.
Wow.
And so like it's just like that's how me and him met, and that's how my tournaments got better because of the kind of the base that he gave me to start doing my own thing. And a lot of the Florida community knew him. The people from Jacksonville, Pensacola, like all those areas. Tampa knew him. Orlando knew him. So, and this time I was still in like the Fort Lauderdale area. So all of Central and North Florida knew who Larry was if they were competitive. And some of the guys from South Florida knew who he was. So it was that. So I just got better at doing tournaments and getting and gaining more experience and stuff like that. And I moved to Central Florida, did it there. Arcade Renaissance still going, so we're doing stuff in Central Florida. We're doing stuff in South Florida still.
Nice.
And then like 2004 rolled around, and I moved away. I moved to California and for work, and all that stuff stopped. You know what I mean? I didn't have anything. I didn't have like a really
Whole
a
new
strong.
area.
Yeah, it's a different area.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I went to final round. It was back in 2007. Was my first time going to final round. I don't know whichever one that was. So subtract 9 or whatever. How many years is it now? We're 8 years from now. So 2000, like the first one, final round 10. And I remember I met him. I met Shonda, and they knew who I was based off this interaction on shoryuken.com and online, and it was cool. Like my first year was like, yo, this is the most incredible thing I've ever experienced in my life. People were talking trash to one another, and it didn't matter, you know, how old they were. It didn't matter what color they were. It didn't matter anything. You know, it was just a place of like a
Competition.
utopia. Yeah, it was like a utopia of competition where everybody just got together. And I remember, especially after the tournament,
Yeah.
this was one thing about Final Round that I thought was different from all the other tournaments that I've been to over the years now with experience is that people would put like stickies on their door back in the day and say what game they were playing, and all you'd have to do is just knock
Wow.
and go in, and people were like, yeah, man, come in. So like you'd be running into like so much crazy competition. And back then when we were when I was playing and going to tournaments, it was the big three that was on one disc where Capcom was running the world. Capcom had Marvel 2, CVS 2, and Third Strike. Those games right there, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like Justin Wong, it was Justin Wong, and Justin Wong. Like whenever Justin came to the tournament, he would just clean up, no matter which tournament he went to on the East Coast. He was top three. Even back then, he played Tekken. He played KOF. Like literally, except for like maybe Smash, Justin played every fighting game tournament and he would just go home with all the money. You can look up
Wow.
pictures of him still where he'd have a pimp cup and like hundreds of dollars in his hands from cleaning up from these tournaments. Like Justin was unstoppable for a long, long time. And there's that's that's what it was. So you're at final round and you hear it in my voice like right now. Like it was exciting
Yeah.
go final round. Even I still think back about those days where like sometimes I want to quit final round and just go be a participant and not be a part of like keeping the event going. Because it's just like it's the hype itself is just enough to keep you wanting to go back every year. It's like a
Oh,
vacation
yeah.
every year, you know? So like that's what it was. I remember like something happened and he needed some help one year. And I was like, yo, Larry, you want me to help out? And because I'd had so many years of experience right now, it's like, yeah, could you help run this tournament? And a regulated tournament would take like, I'll say like 3 hours. I came back in like an hour and a half. I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Yeah, I finished. I was like, how'd you manage that? I was like, dude, I got this. This is what I do. So I was like, and he gave me another one. I was like, I didn't want to help out with more than one. I only wanted to do one, Larry, one. And like, damn it. All right, fine, I'll help you again. So I end up helping him again, and that was it. The following year comes, and I walk up to the door. This time I've already paid, I've already pre-reg, I'm going to sign up for my tournaments. Larry walks by, Shonda sees me. Shonda goes, hey, David. I'm like, hey, Shonda. You met Shonda, so you know how she is and how
She's
she greets.
really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So Larry walks by being busy as he always is, and
Uh-oh. There's 1 second, guys. I don't know why the call's on hold. But... yeah, give me like 1 second to figure this out real quick. There we go. Crises averted.
Sorry. Sorry,
very
Kyle called
cool.
in and I thought I got him in this one, but I didn't get him in. Here, wait 1 second. Let me see if I can get him in here.
Sure.
Here we go. We got him. Sorry, Dave. I
No,
tried
that's
to get
cool. I'm
him in
here.
on this and missed it. Okay. So you saw Sandra. She was there. She said hi. And then
Yeah.
did she say, hey, can you help us with, officially be
No,
on the what?
no. It wasn't could you help this type of situation. Larry walked by. He looked at Shonda and said, Shonda, could you give him a staff shirt, please? And give him back his money? And I was like, wait, what? What are you doing? No, I wasn't trying to be, no, I'm not a part of your staff. Stop. I was like, you know what I mean? I came here, like, and back then, I won't lie, I was a little bit of a, I was young. I didn't drink a lot then and stuff like that. So, like, whenever I came to Atlanta, I was going to drink. I was going to go
Kind
party
of
with
got
my
cut
friends.
loose. Yeah, yeah.
It was something to do. And it was crazy. And then he hands me the shirt, and I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to. And this dude's handing me the shirt to go to work, and I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. And it's like, fudge. All right, fine. Give me the damn shirt. And 8 years later, I'm a part of senior staff and helping to run the tournaments. And like from where it came from to where it is now, like back in the days, like even back in Final Round 10, like a lot of stuff that Larry had was all borrowed stuff, borrowed systems, borrowed TVs,
Yeah.
borrowed everything, to the point now where it's either business deals or like he personally owns those monitors and the system. So it's grown a lot since where it came from to where it is now. So like a lot of times when I see people trying to do tournaments, it's like it's crazy to me because they don't know how much work or money is invested
Right.
or business
It's a
deals
ton.
that have.
It's a ton of money. I mean, I know a lot of us, well, especially Bobby, heck, with Console Combat. You guys had, your whole thing going. It costs a lot. We were looking into trying to figure something out here. It costs a ton. I mean, there was a hotel that was switching their TVs all around, and we were going to try to purchase all of their televisions, a few
Right.
years ago. I was like, my God, just the investment for that it's huge.
I know it is, and that's the thing. Like I remember, like when you if you're smart about it, like look at Larry has a tournament that happens every year, so like this stuff you can buy piecemeal. You don't have to get everything right then and there. So you get it, you buy a monitor 1 month, you buy a system the next month, you buy a month. You know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
like just slowly build up, and after a while, over the years, you end up with a decent collection of systems and monitors and things that you need in order to run an event
Well,
this
yeah, and
size.
he's got
Final round.
18 years worth.
Yeah, exactly. But then, what do you do? Like one of the major issues, because the world is a um, instant gratification right now. Like I
Yeah.
remember when I was back in the day where there was no stream. Like the only way you got video or footage from a
Oh,
old
as if you
tournament
were
was either
there.
online or
VHS.
Yeah,
VHS
VHS or
VHS,
tapes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Preppy. I don't know if you guys knew who Preppy was, but
I
Preppy
know
used to
Preppy.
do,
I know Preppy
yeah,
very
you
well.
know what I mean? Preppy used to do the Marvel 2 videos and stuff like that. Like Preppy shit was sick. Like, like a lot of people, like when I see these young guys come up, they don't understand like where like how much effort and work was put in
Yeah.
before they got here, because technology has completely changed the game where they want to stream and they want to stream it right now and they can record it live and they do all this stuff. And I'm like, you guys don't understand the struggle, yo. A DVD or a CD used to come out months after the tournament. There was no there was no instant watching it as it happened and like trying to remember somebody's tricks and whatnot. It was crazy.
Yeah,
But
Prepper was a trooper too. Prepper is from Cali, and he traveled like all over the place. If there was a Marvel 2 tournament, he was there with a video camera in hand. Like,
every time, dude, Preppy was amazing. Preppy had, yeah, I think his database may even still be up. I haven't been to his site in a while, but
I think it
uh,
is.
yeah, Preppy stuff was pretty cool, yeah. So, but to wrap it up, you know what I mean? Like after 8 years, I've been going with it. The meetings, we have several meetings every year, more meetings as the event grows closer. So you have several different stuff to look into. You got to deal with the hotel, you got to
Mhm.
deal with electronics, you got to deal with the games, you got to deal with what version of the game is being played right now, you got to deal with the communities, you got to deal with you have to have a grounds person, somebody who's watching the tournament and how it's flowing. When stuff breaks down, you
Yeah.
have to be aware of that stuff because that
Have
affects everything.
backups.
Yeah, and if you don't have enough backups, you may have to ask the community. So it's crazy. It's just it's a huge amount of work and preparation that goes into running an event, whether it's a small tournament or a major. And when it's a major, it definitely has a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that happens or a ball that drops, like you set this plan in place, and then you're like, okay, go. And like Hannibal, you try to make it fall together. You like it when your plan falls together, but nothing ever works that way.
Yeah.
Nothing. I can't tell you how many times you'll buy a system and it won't break until tournament day. I don't get that. I don't understand how that works.
Wow.
Murphy's Law, yo. We had 5 systems go final round 18. Two for Eric, two for Larry, and two PS3s, two for Larry, two for Eric, and then one Xbox Red Ringed on us. And I'm like, for real? Even Capcom in the middle of their stream, like had a cable go. Like, how do you prep for that? You know what I mean? You don't. You can't
Yeah.
prep for a cable getting blown. So
The only prep you have for that is to bring extra equipment. That's the
Yeah.
only prep you have.
yeah,
Like
continue.
Sorry, you were saying.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying like when our PlayStations went and Larry's PlayStations went, like we had backups, but none of our backups had every single game that was playing at the time. And that's another thing that you have to look into. Is you might have the systems, but do you have all the data you need for the games that they're being used for?
Right.
So it's like a whole process.
And like you got to hope that the right version is downloaded in there, and even
with all the DLC now.
Yeah.
Like back in
Yeah,
the
but then that,
day, and Dave can attest to this. Back in the day, like there was no DLC. You had
hell
that
no.
game, and that was it. Like
Yeah,
now,
I'll tell you. It's the big three. Like literally, Katie. I don't remember seeing you back in the day when Third Strike, CBS2, and
No,
Marvel.
hey, my first final round was either 2011 or 2000. And then I went to
Yeah,
the one
like
last year and I went to this year's. Yeah.
exactly. So like back in the day, you get a Dreamcast, you put it down, you put in one disc, and you'd walk away.
Oh, and you're set. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The only problem that time was if the Dreamcast would go down. That was about the only
Exactly.
thing you
The
had to
port
worry
would
about.
blow and the Dreamcast would die, and that was it. And that rarely happened. It did happen, but it was rare. It
Hey,
did,
talking
like
about crazy things that happened.
yeah,
I didn't even know Street Fighter had a glitch. And I was in losers and I was sitting there, playing, and I had headsets on, and the only thing I knew was there was this like screech, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell was that?" And I threw off the headsets, and I was like, "Oh my god," and Eduardo and Adil were there, and they were like, "You got the glitch." I was like, "What?" I had no clue what the hell anybody was talking about. And
yeah,
they just shut down the machine, restarted it, and then we basically got our bars back to where they used to be. But I was like so out of it. I couldn't concentrate after that. But yeah, I mean, who would have thought? There's things that you can't plan for that aren't even, you know, it's not the monitor's fault, it's not the machine's fault, it's just something even in the game you can't control, can
right.
try to throw you off. It's
Agreed.
yeah.
You
Agreed.
blame
You have
Capcom.
to.
Hey
Yeah,
man,
you have to
that didn't
allow
even happen during the
technology.
Red Bull Kumite. It was a Mago versus somebody, and they got that glitch. And
Yeah.
like Mago's a heavy with momentum, as we all probably know or should know. And once that just like got stopped dead, like there's no preparation for that, and like
Yeah.
it's just a really unfortunate circumstance.
And it throws you off too. You're
No,
just
no,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Mago was up that round, and
Yeah.
then when everything had to go basically restarted, just went back to neutral, and then he just got bopped basically.
yeah.
Really crazy.
Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, we still had stuff like that back then too. I think Marvel had the blue screen. Marvel 2 had the blue screen. When I
Oh
say
yeah,
Marvel, I mean Marvel 2. Like
yeah.
that's the real Marvel for me. Like I don't. When
That's
I
the
say
only
Marvel, I'm
Marvel.
not. Yeah, so like that had the blue screen that used to kill people's momentum and stuff like that. But it's basically how it ran, and tournaments were just like crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish some of our tournaments now were like kind of, I don't want to say kind of crazy like they were back then. I think my favorite tournament is still the last one that was at I forgot the name of the place. Bobby, what was the last tournament for Seasons Beatings, but not the one in the hotel? It was in that little arcade that went out of business.
Arcade? You mean Momo's? That was
Yeah, it was in Momo's.
that
That's
was
it.
the Japanese
That was the
bubble
bowling
tea.
alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bowling
that was
alley.
my favorite. That was my favorite tournament. Yeah, I loved how it was just like a real arcade, and everyone was just all kind of crammed in together, and I don't
I
know
mean, it
why.
wasn't
I liked it, huh?
it wasn't really like an arcade. It was just more like a recreational
Center. Yeah.
You had bowling. You
Yeah,
had
so-
we had people in the whenever we ran like the anime game tournaments, and whenever they were done, like they had like the karaoke rooms and stuff, and
Yeah.
we'd get blasted. And
You guys did a really good job. That was a lot of fun. And I
Yeah,
think
like
Winter Brawl was a freaking blast. That was a good one too. Yeah, boy, there were people popping off, and oh my god, it was just, I love that kind of excitement.
that's a East Coast thing though. Like that's a you have to
Really?
understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
that's
West
a
Coast does not
huge
have that at
East
all.
Coast thing.
Really?
The West
Yes.
Coast, like the West Coast has certain people that pop off, like
I was gonna say,
people.
yeah,
Like,
Filipino champ, he's like pretty,
That's
vivacious.
because
really?
he comes over
That is-
here. That's because Ryan comes over here.
right, like let me ask you a question. When Ryan comes over here, you ever see Ryan pop off? Really?
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen him
so
pop
rare.
off at least twice. I can say I personally seen him pop off twice.
Ryan's been on the East Coast several times, and he doesn't pop off. When we go to the East, when we go to the West, and I say we as like East Coasters,
Yeah.
we pop off whenever, wherever. You know what I mean? Like, but when you go to like a tournament here, like, and I'm not gonna mention any names, but like they're crazy dry, yo. Like they're like golf clapping and like, wow, that was skillful, and it's so great to see that type of tournament play. And I'm like, I'm dying.
I
like I'm
know, man. We need to
The sad
shake
part
those
is,
guys up or something. Jesus, that's
sad part is,
funny.
I think I know who you're talking about.
that shit is
Oh.
terrible. Like you got like a dude named Luca. I remember I went to one NCR, and Luca's a dude from SoCal.
Uh-huh.
I think he's Hawaiian or something like that. Luca's Hawaiian, right? Queen? Samoan. He's Samoan, and Luca by himself talks shit to the entire NorCal Street Fighter scene and like shut them up. I'm like, yo, Luca's a business. Like you know what I mean? Like but one man couldn't go to the East Coast and do that on his own. You crazy? Like you can't even go to Georgia and like do that. You can't come from out of town and shut Georgia down. You're nuts. Like even like for me, like when Corn came into the scene. Corn came into the scene like 2 years ago for me. And like when they came to final round for the first year, they were so loud that they were like competing with Atlanta. I was actually impressed by them. You know, I was like, wow, they can hold their own against Atlanta Tekken. Okay, I see you guys. You know, you get an honorable mention. But as it pertains to, and I'm going to use the word that corporate America use,
Uh-huh.
passion. As it pertains to
Oh,
passion
yeah.
for the fighting game,
We're passionate people here on the East
Yeah.
Coast.
East Coast definitely has the passion that it takes to
We've
make
got the
this
fire,
really
definitely.
a viable and attractive thing to watch. You know what I mean? When you're watching the crowd respond to certain things like that. So that's just my first.
And you know what kind of started up that I really of course if I was playing I'd hate it. But what started up that's kind of new is when you get close to the end and then people just start screaming, ah, ah! I'm like, oh my god, whoever came up with that.
That's
great.
That's an old third strike thing.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, I'd just lose it right there.
Came after the great period. Like you miss out on a lot. Like when you miss out on like Marvel 2 was like the age where like there was no filter. Like anything was said. Like nothing was safe. No personal information was safe.
I could tell you personal stories. I mean, I got in the scene in 05 and like so Marvel 2 was like, you know, my favorite game, but I got into the scene with Third Strike as far as competitive goes. And I used to go and travel all over the place. And from like 06 to 07, like right before they started doing like Evo East and they tried doing that whole regional thing, like if you just heard what people would say to you just to try to throw you off game, it was bad. Like people want to complain about like coaching now, like don't even worry about coaches. Like you got to worry about the entire crowd being on your ass.
Right, exactly. Yeah. You weren't there back then in the day, Buck, but like I remember there was one final round. This dude was playing Tekken, and he lost a match that he was winning, and he started to cry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god! They nearly made him commit suicide.
No.
Yo, when I said like, you know that big dude that's there, right, Katie? That really big dude from Atlanta.
Yeah,
he's like ATL, the one that hangs out with Poke Chop. Those boys got on him, and I was like, it was bad. They were like, you crying? Oh no! Like I'm talking like all of a sudden, where everybody else was playing their game, they're all now focused on this one dude because he started crying because he lost a Poke Chop, and I was like, oh my, yo, dude. It was bad. That's what I'm saying. Like right now, the guys out there, you know, they're cool and stuff, but like you guys, like for as it pertains to passion and excitement and the rubbing in of the salt, yeah, the East Coast definitely has it on lock, and it makes it entertaining. It makes it entertaining to behold. Because I was like,
if there was a tier list for trash talking, East Coast would be God tier.
Definitely S all the way. But I'm sorry, we went off on a tangent for passion and stuff like that. But yes, that's what final round was for me. Like it was all of that stuff combined, and that's what drew me in.
Yeah.
And then Larry, of course, not giving me an option whether or not I wanted to be staff or not. And then then I got So that's basically how I became a part of the final round staff and wanted to make sure that it was something worthwhile. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be our legacy when we die and leave and stuff. This is what we've done for a part of something that we were interested in.
Yeah.
And I want to see where it turns out to. Like, it grew a lot. The community has moved from having pots where the pots were like, oh, someone gave $100 to a pot, and that would draw people from different areas. Now people
Oh,
are
now it's
putting thousands
thousands,
of dollars in cars to be in one. It's just it's growing more and more. So all we can do is just keep on working.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a really good one this year. The weather was really nice. Yeah, in that Street Fighter ballroom, you were like on top of everybody. Man, you were like on that stage directing everybody. I was like, oh my goodness, that was really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, the whole thing was really good.
What the funniest part I remember about it when you offered to help. Shut
I
up.
know. I was like, if it's before or after, or like way after my pools, I was like, I think I got this. And then you showed me this major bracket of this huge pool, and I was like, I think I got this. It's like running out the door. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's one of those
No,
things where
it's
you look at it and you're like, I'll be right back.
Oh Jesus.
Carrie. Hello. No, you're not coming back. All right, cool. I appreciate that. You look good as our Thursday. All right, see you later.
Oh, that was
It's like,
bad. I was like, oh.
that's it.
You're like, we're going to go down this couple of rows first, and then we're going to go to this side, and then this side, and over here. And I was like, oh, Jesus. And I'm thinking, man, if I screw this up, I'm going to have you, Larry, and Eric, like, super pissed.
No.
I was like, oh,
The thing-
Jesus, I can't. I was like, I can't screw this up. They'll be
Right,
like,
let's-
final round is running behind. It's all because of her.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
oh,
Kate.
no.
But if you make a mistake now, people
Yeah.
have smartphones and they have Twitter and they have Facebook. So you mess up a bracket, they're taking a picture of the bracket, they're tweeting about it, they're putting that shit on Facebook. Like, you're being put on blast immediately.
Oh,
And worse, if they
Jesus.
have
There's no chill
all of a
button.
sudden,
There's no
all of a
chill.
sudden, your mistake is now a trending issue. Like, it is not a joke. Like, it is like, like I remember last year, something happened with full schedule and like the buttons that he were using. Yo,
Yeah.
when I say Twitter blew up, Facebook blew up,
That's an understatement.
it was an understatement. Like, literally, it was like I had to be like, okay, what's going on? Like, I was pulled from Street Fighter over to the main room to be like, what's the big deal? It's like, yo, he's been winning tournaments and because his button shortcuts this and blah blah blah, and we're like, holy crap! Like, it's like it's all the stuff that you have to deal with on tournament, and that's just the stuff that I can mention to you that happens in the tournament. Then they're like personal issues that come up that are happening in tournaments that you have to deal with when you're the part of the main staff. So like when you see me on that stage and I'm directing people in a tournament, I'm also finding out what's going on in the back rooms. I know what's going on in the main room, what's going on in the lobby. It's nuts. It's really a huge ordeal to really just keep your hand on it. It's very delicate because if you make one bad decision, the world's hearing about it, and that's what it has come to now. And it's just like, so you always have to be
and
mindful.
that's also a big deciding factor for people if they want to make that route, travel down for that tournament, because they're thinking, oh, well, oh, it was off schedule, or this happened or that happened, and we don't want to, we don't want to do that. We'll go to something else instead.
Like I said, you've come to the nice part of final round. Like, you just come to the part where final round now ends at 10 o'clock at night, where it said it's going to end, or 10:30. You should have come back in the day when final round was ending at 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. No, not like Sunday at 2 o'clock. People needed to go home. Tournaments were still being ran. The hotel staff is sitting there going, dude, we need to close our doors. You're making so much noise. Like, it was, we've grown a lot as a organization and gotten better at it. And it's just like one of those things where, it was nuts. It was really nuts. Like, right now, I remember a couple of years ago, I got up on stage and I made a comment. I was really emotional too, that final round finished at 9 o'clock. Final round was done at 9 o'clock on Sunday. And that was an accomplishment for us. And that year we were Not as much as this year, but we were packed.
Hmm.
We had a huge amount of people come out that year, and we still finished early. And for us as staff, that's a huge accomplishment because you get to break down early, you get to go and eat early.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I can tell
no,
you about
seriously,
breaking
like
down early.
exactly that stuff matters, Because like think about it, 2 o'clock tournaments are still running. You're not broken down yet.
Yeah.
People are still playing casuals. You still have systems up. You still have tables to break down, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. People that donated systems to you are waiting to go home, and they can't leave because you're still in the middle of running pools or you're running a particular bracket, and it's just like I don't know. So yeah, it has grown and changed a lot over the years, and like a lot of times, like where people would like not get disqualified and stuff like that. Now I have no sympathy. If you're not where you're supposed to be, you don't have a good reason for where you're not supposed to be.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
DQ'd. Like I work with guys that are like caught up in different games at the same time because some of the players in our community are really just that gifted and they can play several games at a high level. So you work with those guys, but those guys are like the Chris G's, the Humbags, the Justin Wongs, like they get it. So like I'm like, yo, dude, I need you to jump back and forth between the rooms, and they're like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
So you see them as back and forth, constantly busy,
There,
and
there's also a way to do it too. So like if you ever have a pool where that's happening, you find out if someone's friends with that person in pools too. Like this year alone, like there was a pool that I was in, and I was trying to help the kid run it for him, where he was just like, "Yo, I don't know where this guy is. I want to DQ him." And I was like, "Hold on, before you do that," and I brought like everyone that was in the same pool as me. I was like, "Does anybody know this guy?" And like, "Oh yeah, he's my friend." I was like, "Good, call him.
Yeah,
Tell
text him
him
or
he's going to
something.
tell him he's going to get DQ'd because I mean the last thing you want to hear is last thing a player wants to hear is like why was I DQ'd, and like
right,
we had a dude that was actually in my bracket, who he was like oh I didn't know what time my pool was, and being the fact that it's like a 4 o'clock pool, it's like you want to give the guy leeway, but at the same time you can't because everything was online and
right,
like people were trying to get a hold of him, so like I mean he was in losers and like you know, he was happy he was still able to play, but he kind of had to hold that. So,
Yeah.
like, you got to worry about that.
yeah,
And
yeah. That's the stuff that gets tweeted. That's the stuff that gets like they dealt with me unfairly. Like even like something as simple as a schedule. Like the schedule didn't go out in a very clear manner this year, and I have to hold that. And like I
That's
had to
because
go
there
out.
was a lot of last minute stuff going on, though. I mean, really, no one can
All right,
like get
look at it this
prepared
way.
for something like that, though. You know what I mean?
350 people pre-reg for Street Fighter, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty big. That's a lot. Then 109 signed up at the door. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? 109 of y'all came at the door to sign up to play Street Fighter alone.
Yeah.
That's not adding anybody else that came for Gear, Marvel, and all the other games that we're playing. Just for Street Fighter alone, over 100 people came on one day to sign up. Are you serious, guys? Like, oh God. You know what I mean? And you gotta understand too, like the demographic has a lot to do with that. Like that one area in Atlanta, um, like a lot of
they don't
people
travel. They don't
they
travel
don't
at all.
one they don't travel, two they don't have PCs, and I don't want to put a lot of people business out there, but they don't have bank accounts. So like you don't have people that have access to online transactions.
Right.
So they really have no option other than to pay at the door.
At the door. Yeah.
And it's just like, what do you do? Like if you ever shut that option down, then they have no means of
Getting in.
enjoying final round as
Yeah.
a player. And so like, and that's the thing too, like just to go back to what Buck was talking about a second ago, like when you disqualify people, like you got to consider this. Like whenever I disqualify somebody, I really, really make sure that I'm doing it the right way because you never know who you're disqualifying. A dude could have come from anywhere,
Yeah.
Japan, New York. Like he spent money. Yeah, it's not just the cover charge and the tournament fee. Like if he came to play one game and got disqualified straight into losers, could you imagine what that investment was? It's
Yeah.
a plane ticket, it's a hotel, it's your door fee, and to enter that tournament. That's a lot of money just to come and play and then get disqualified for something that we could have possibly helped you with if we had tried just a little bit harder.
We had to
You
do
know what
that
I
a
mean?
couple of times with people too. We had to do that with Jerron Grayson, EMP Hero. We had
Yeah.
to do that with him this time, where he was in an early pool. He couldn't make it because he there was legit family issues, and he got to final round late, and we had to move him. And like, I mean, that's things you always have to deal with. Like even when I run like any of the Big E events, like I purposely go out of my way to make sure that no one in the pools that I'm running are DQ'd.
Yeah.
Someone's got to have somebody's phone number. Someone's got to be able to contact somebody. Like I usually actually get the group together and like I call out everyone's name. I'm like, look, pool X is starting. Here's the rundown of names. Are you guys here? Yes. Who's not here? Okay. Do you know this person? Do you know any of these players? Good. Call them. Get their ass down here. Like,
yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a major thing that you deal with at every single event, and
Every event. Yeah, because you have to understand too. There's a 2 hour block that you have to work with, and if they're not here, when they start messing up that 2 hour window,
Yeah.
you have to DQ them at this point. You know what I mean? Like when you're at the point where your match is now preventing us from finishing that particular pool within the 2 hour time slot allotted, that we got to start moving the tournament along.
I know
And
it.
that's where it's at.
What was it? It was Evo 2013. I signed up for Cross Tekken, and for some reason, they put me in 2 different pools.
Yeah.
And I wrote in and I said, "Hey, look, I'm in these 2 different pools, but they still kept me in both of them." So I played in the first one, and ended up going so far and then losing, and that was the end. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I got the other pool. And I didn't do it. But the thing was that I never went to the pool though to say, hey, I'm not there. And I just went off and went to lunch or did something. And Nicholas Paldino, is that how you say
Yeah.
the last name? Paldino? He was the ref, and I guess he was really calling my name and holding out, and I I didn't know, I didn't say anything. And then he ran into me later. He was like, yeah, I had to DQ you were in the pool. I was like, shit. And I was like, you were the extra,
Yeah.
you were
I
the
was
extra
like,
pool. Yeah.
you should have. Yeah, you're a better person than I am because I would have showed my ass up to that second pool. Like, yep, I am here.
See,
Where do
I
you
was
want me to
thinking
start?
about it, but I didn't want people to like jump all over my ass or something like that. Like, oh, she freaking broke the rules and we're going to bend the rules for a girl. I was like, oh shit, I don't need all that. So I didn't
Like I said,
do
this
it.
information society that we live in, you'd have been all over the internet. Twice. Like, yep. All your answer should have been was, yep, I sure did. I did play twice.
They
Now
would
what?
like, see, but when a girl does it, I'm like, oh Jesus, here we go.
Yeah,
But
it is what it is. But it's just to close off like the thought about it. It's the grounds, it's the tournament, it's the people, it's the loss of equipment, it's the meetings that happened before, it's the meetings that happened before that you hope that plan that you put into place stays in place during the day of, and then that you finish strong. And that's what really happens, that you finish strong. If you can finish strong, then your tournament would have went well. And I think that's what happened. I think final round, if I were to grade myself, I'd give it like a 90 out of 100. Because I mean, some mistakes were made, and the
but
anime community
they
got.
were all early. Any little mistake that actually happened at final round, and Dave, you got to give yourself more credit than that.
yeah, I was gonna
Any
say I didn't notice anything.
the
Must have been all behind the scenes stuff
so
because yeah,
the
see, you guys are laughing, but
Right.
I didn't notice.
the little things that we had to do and tweak at the ending of it. Like when I got there Thursday and we start going through and we're doing this setup and where anime originally was supposed to be, both I know E said something to Larry and then I said something to Larry as well. It was like you guys have over 200 people for Guilty Gear. They should be in the main room. They have to be in the main room. Like, Smash is something new that's going on in final rounds, and they got what the anime and the KOF and all the other games, they got their rooms,
Yeah.
which was good for them because they had their own separate stream, they had their own separate everything. It was better for them. And that was just one little tweak that we had to do. Dave was running around like a madman Saturday morning with Street Fighter stuff, trying to redo the pools, add people in,
Yeah.
and go all over, re-go over everything while trying to find people to run pools. And me running around like a madman going, "Who's staff? Can you run pool? Can you do this? Can you do that?" Like, I mean, that's legit
Yeah.
stuff that was going on.
Speaking about some like legit stuff, sometimes I get a little nervous when sometimes the crazy stuff happens. Like I know, didn't somebody take a knife and just put it through the wall somewhere?
No, no, no,
No,
and
no.
no. Oh my
What?
God. I'm gonna
It's like
punch
a
Jay.
doctored photo or something.
I am gonna punch Jay when I see him. I already told Jay too. All right, if you look at the picture,
Yeah.
right? Okay. If you look at the picture, it's a piece of like wire. Like I went and saw that exact thing. It looks like something that plugs into like some type of electrical outlet. There was no knife that went into the wall. Oh my God. Like I
I
even told
know. I was
Larry,
like, you know, at what was it? Was that TFC or what? One of Eric's like events. Someone pooped in the stairwell.
Oh,
Somebody
stop. Yeah,
threw
yeah,
up
yeah.
down my
Time,
hallway, and now
time
we
out.
got a knife on the wall. And I'm thinking, we are so lucky these hotels don't kick us out.
Well,
Man,
so, well, I don't want to try to badmouth anything about, Big E, our events, and stuff like that. We don't know who did that
well, that's the thing. I mean, they're never going to come forward. But I'm just saying, we're lucky that you know these hotels aren't saying, "Hey, guys, you're going to lose your whatever your deposit is or whatever it is, and you
there,
can't
well,
there,
come
wa-
that,
back."
there was a scary incident that happened at Winter Brawl, and I don't want to bring it up because people
Uh,
that know about it know
yeah,
about it.
if it's
Um, but there was an issue that came up, and it was because of Eric's rapport with the owners that we're still able to utilize that hotel. Um, so there, I mean, there's always different things. Like I know Larry, he had some issues, and Dave knows a little bit more about this than I do. With the hotel that we used this year for final round, and I know that he had a meeting with them, and he wanted to go over certain things to try to make it better, because he likes the place and he wants to stay there. But there were definitely certain things that happened that
yo,
he was not
I
upset. He was upset with.
oh yeah, dude. I I'm not gonna like anyway, I'm not more than much for filter, but like hotel staff this year was new. Like the banquet staff
Mhm.
was not the same people that we were dealt with over the past 2 years. So the lady that we dealt with has MS, and
Oh,
her MS progressed, so she wasn't able to make it. And so like this new lady came on staff, and I mean, I don't know who she is, but she didn't understand the magnitude of what she was dealing with. She just probably saw a video game tournament and then realized that your hotel is about to be sold out and you're going to have over 1,000 people moving through your banquet area for the next 3 days.
yeah,
So you need to get your stuff together. Like I had to literally go down there, and of course, as professionally as I could, I had to be like, look, we're accustomed to a little bit more of a hotel presence when we're setting up because we have to make sure that the stuff is running smoothly before
right.
the actual tournament starts. And she was like, "Yeah, I'll be down there." And I'm like, "Look, lady, I don't need to. I need somebody down there now. Like, this is not a joke. This is, what I mean, this is business. This is money that has been spent. This is your hotel being sold out.
Yeah,
This is why we're here. We can't have you slowly getting. We need you to move now. I'm not coming to you for things
right. We
that
need
were
the
not already
tables. We need
discussed.
the chairs. We need
Don't
the
don't
We need the
don't move at a
internet.
South pace. Move at a New Yorker pace.
yeah.
Right, right. I need you like to move a little bit quicker. Like one of our pools, like in the Street Fighter room, had no power at one point or another. And we're like, what? No, I need you to come down there and fix this. Like, I need those 4 TVs. There's no way that we can run this tournament because that's literally 2 pools now that we don't have. Like, that's just like not acceptable. These are the type of stuff that you have to deal with. And just like what you guys are just talking about with the knife thing, I'm not blowing it off. The knife thing happened. It wasn't a knife. If you look at the picture slowly, blow it up and look at it. That's not a knife hilt. If anyone's ever owned a knife, you can tell that that's not a knife. Um, it's a little piece of wire. And like, for instance, Evo, I think it was last year.
Uh-huh.
Evo last year, used something somebody used like drugs or something like that, and like literally had to be carried out of the ballroom, and hotel security was involved. Like this is what these events are becoming now. They're
Yeah.
becoming like mosh pit shows and stuff like that. People people are gonna do drugs. People are gonna get into fights. People are gonna, you know what I mean? Like when you're an event planner, you have to be concerned about like insurance and like
Right.
crazy
But at the
foolishness like that.
same
Like
time, too, you also have to remember that these events now are growing so large with the numbers of people that are going that that rate is going to go up just because of the magnitude of the people that you have going in there, you know?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. People are coming there, and like I said, like I'm getting buzzed after hours. People are getting buzzed before,
During.
during, while, and you know what I mean, like and after the tournament. And sometimes some people don't know how to control themselves,
Oh,
and
yeah.
as the event planner, you get dragged into that because they're going to be like, "Hey, is this dude a part of your thing? He has a badge on, or he has on you know, a wrist thing on.
Wristband.
Do you
Yeah.
know him? Yeah, you got to go find out what's going on with this dude because they're coming to you now as the event organizer to be like, hey, fix this. And it's like, fuck. You got 300 people waiting on you in one room, and you got to go deal with this one dude that nearly drunk himself to death.
Well,
You know
I'll
what I mean?
tell
Like,
you
what do
what. Yeah, that hotel you guys were in this year. Well, and it was last year.
you?
It's a great hotel.
It
I mean, it
is.
really is, you know. Um, it's got enough elevators. We can all go up and down the elevators like
they're
pretty good.
they're fast elevators too.
Fast
It's open.
elevators. You know, I remember my first final round. If it was in 2011 or 12 or 13, no, it was 11 or 12, I think. But it was in Atlanta.
It
Like
was
there
probably
was,
the West. It
huh?
was probably the West End that you're talking about.
It was like a little bit of a cab ride. And I remember, I think there were only like two elevators, and the hotel was pretty expensive.
It was
What's the
And
West?
it was
yeah,
in
the
some
The
West.
West.
sort of a business
What's the West?
plan, like a business park. And we would all
Yeah, it
try
was
to
the West End.
walk to this little supermarket thing.
Yeah, it was definitely the West End you're talking about. It's definitely the
Okay.
West End we were
Yeah,
at.
Ah,
that was
man, those elevators were horrible. I remember sitting there for like half an hour just
Yeah.
trying to go upstairs. I was like, oh, man.
that was not a good hotel for multiple different reasons. That so that was the year where Nelson was having a seizure in the middle of the lobby, and I'm trying to get the hotel staff like, go get ice. They're like, what? I'm like,
Yeah.
go get fucking ice. He's having a seizure. Like, my friend is dying. Go get fucking help.
Yeah.
And like they're like just dumb as bricks. And I feel so I feel so bad, at the time. Like I still get pissed off thinking about it because like
Sometimes in like
God rest his soul, but
situations like that, though, people just naturally don't know what to do because
Katie,
they'll freeze.
Katie,
You know what I mean?
Katie,
Yeah.
stop it. I'm gonna stop you right there. I know this is your show, but let me stop you. I worked in hospitality for 13 years.
Yeah.
That's no excuse. You're in the business of people. You have to know how to deal with when somebody drowns and someone has a seizure. Because if it happens on your property and you don't respond
Oh, you're
properly, it is now
responsible for
legally
it.
you're responsible for
Yeah.
that issue. Don't let like if somebody's telling you to go get ice or somebody's having a seizure and they all can tell you stupid, they really are stupid. Like there is no excuse for that type of stuff.
the,
You have to know what you're doing. You
we're we're
must.
we're lucky the paramedics came because I don't know what was gonna happen. Like, let's put it this way, it was just a bad scenario, and you know, thank God at the
Yeah.
time he made it through it. But
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Thank God we never went back to that hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was what happened is too like that hotel was it was small. It wasn't like this one. It was just one big ballroom,
Yeah.
and I think we had a side room. I think if that's the one that I remember correctly, and like yeah, that one that couldn't manage our size anymore. Like it was really a decent sized ballroom, but by the time we fit everybody in, like I remember one of our FGC brethren came to me. One of the guys that are like, no, I think I do remember. It was Gutex. Gutex came to me, and Gutex was like, "Yo, nice tournament, but stupid. Yeah, you planning to stay at this hotel?" I was like, "No, I don't think we're gonna be here next year because we couldn't. We couldn't. It was like literally, I mean, nuts to butts. Like it was bad.
Just not,
It was
it just didn't
yeah.
fit your needs.
It couldn't fit the needs at all. It was really just one of those situations where it was too much people, too little space, and we had to go back to the Hilton Atlanta and do it there, and now even that particular hotel may become an issue with space if we grow again. If we grow like we did again, even by a certain amount of percentage, they may not be able to handle us. I think that it's a great thing, but I don't know where we're gonna go this year. They're already looking into other stuff as well, but we'll see. But
Yeah.
for right now, we'll see what the best option is. But it's a great hotel. Like I said, I love it. I like the location. I think really appropriate for like anybody that's coming in from out of town. You don't have to travel too far. You have food places around you,
Yeah.
public transportation if needed. You can. It's like not too far to jump on the MARTA or the train. So it's like a lot of people, just like even local Atlanteans, just like take advantage of it. But that's about it. So I don't know. I'm done. I don't have anything else to talk about as it pertains to Final Round, unless you have a question.
No, it was great. It was a great event. It really was. It was really well run, you know? Yeah, and I saw Kyle. He was running all over the place, setting everything up, making sure it was all in like working order and everything.
That's the
And
thing.
still
Like
running around
sorry
like
to
a
cut
madman.
you off, but let me cut you
My
for
fault.
1 second. Like a lot of people don't understand. Like a tournament, like I said, it's a moving, it's yeah, beast. Like if Buck doesn't do what he does, we can't run pools.
Yeah.
If Buck doesn't break down, we can't set up for finals day or for the players to practice before their final events and stuff like that. Like it's like these things, these small, simple nuances are so big when it comes to when running a tournament.
Hmm.
It's it's amazing because when it's not done, like I noticed, Larry noticed, E noticed, and we're like, "Yo, where's Buck? Where's Jax? Where's you know what I mean?" Like so, like because Buck, me and Buck had a conversation too. Buck had to
Excuse me.
like
Excuse me.
if stuff doesn't go properly, you know what I mean? Like the first person they're looking for is Buck. Yo, I can't tell you how many times people were looking for Buck to see. Yo, where's Buck? Where's Kyle at? Where's the like? I was like, I'm right here. I'm only human. I can't be in the ballroom and Chattahoochee and in the hotel at all at the same time. I can't be three places at once.
And Dave's
Yo,
not
so
lying. Dave's not lying. Like I literally there was one point during this setup where Larry I'm talking to Larry, I'm like, hey Larry, we should do we should set something up like this over here. He's like, all right, cool, go do that. E comes over. What are you doing? You need to go and grab these systems and move them into the other rooms. And at the same time as he's telling me that, I'm getting pulled over from one of the streamers to go
right,
try to
because
set
this
up a
stuff.
screen.
Oh, yeah.
I'm literally like picture like four guys string me up and then like trying to rip me into four different sections of the ballroom. That's what's going on, and
Yeah.
that's like normal for me. Like I literally have to like. There's certain points in times where I need to like yell at E, like E, I'm doing this. You told me to do this 2 seconds ago, and now you're trying to get me to go to a completely different opposite end of the ballroom. I can't do that. Let me
Yeah.
finish what I'm doing, and I'll get to it.
I think that's
Yeah.
something too that's so important. Like everybody needs to know is that, you know, we come to these events and see, I want to say more like the finished process of what, you guys have done setting up and everything and getting it all ready. And then we go in there and compete, and the room's already set up, the brackets are already done, everything is, running, and none of us know, and I think it's important. This is the kind of stuff that happens, behind the scenes and everything. And then, of course, afterwards, how it all gets, taken down and completed and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't understand, all the work that's involved in doing all of this, and it's a lot, and it's very stressful, time consuming, and time conscious.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to be aware of everything that's going on around you. Worse when you're sitting more towards in like you have to have your hand in everything
Yeah.
that's going on. And the people that have jobs, they have to stay at their positions and do their jobs because if they're not there, someone has to pick up the ball on that day, and it's just like it's too much. And it just becomes like really, really crazy. But you're absolutely right. It's just one of those things that the larger you get, the more responsibility it takes and the more time and effort it takes to run it properly. But if you
Yeah.
have a plan in place,
And then
it
also,
runs.
too, for a lot of us, this is sort of like a high energy scheduled vacation.
Mhm.
But for you guys, it's probably controlled chaos.
I think that's the best
You
way to
know,
describe it. Is
seriously.
control chaos.
Yeah.
Control chaos is
Yeah,
definitely the best way.
yeah, it's nuts. It is nuts.
I couldn't imagine like trying to take my vacation days and use it just for focusing on something like that because it's just so stressful.
You know,
Hon-
and you,
Honestly, when I was working retail, like that was my break. Doing the most chaotic stuff you had imaginable just to get into an event ran. Like it was for me. It was worth it. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else that helps run tournaments and goes absolutely crazy and pulls their hair out. But you know, for me, it's awesome. And the gratification comes at the end when people are coming up to you, random people that you've never met, going, "Thank you for helping with this," or "Thank you for putting it on."
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Buck, 150%. I have a lot more people, the familiar faces and the unfamiliar faces. When the familiar faces do it, it's it makes it I feel a little bit better because they know and they've seen where it's come from. And like even when staff, like I won't lie to you, when staff comes up to you and goes, "Yo, dude, you did a good job this year." It makes you feel like you want to cry on the inside. You know what I mean? You're a man, so you're not gonna actually cry or admit to crying or whatever. But it it's that type of feeling. It gives you the feels like, yo, people recognize. Like a lot of the effort that we put into this is not necessarily for the recognition, but it's nice. It's nice to be recognized by your peers. It's nice to be recognized by the people that you're working for. That I did a good job, no matter what situation it is, whether it's your regular job or just what you're doing as a hobby. If somebody recognizes your effort, it feels good.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean, I agree with you 110%. I mean, I recently just ran my first event, and I had people that have seen me for years that were like coming up and congratulating me, and you know, saying all this nice stuff about what I was doing, and it's humbling. It really is when you think about it. I mean, again, like when I was down at final round 2 years ago, and it was really like I think my second time actually helping out down there, and I had people that were like coming up and thanking me as I was putting systems away, and giving me all this recognition. I'm like, no, it's Dave, it's Jax, it's all these guys. I'm not the one you should be thanking, and they're still thanking me. Like, it's a real awesome gesture for people to recognize that, and I think that's you know one of the better things to work towards at the end of the day to make sure that everyone's happy.
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm watching the thing. There's some questions in there. Did you want us to like answer any of
Well,
those
you know
or
what? Actually, yeah, I was looking at some of them. I didn't know if you guys wanted to go through them real quick. But
yeah? Who's go for
yeah, Buffalo Knight asked, "Is there ever a point where you guys would have to cap the
half
entries?"
comes?
Yes, yes, capped
Like,
entries do happen. It all depends on the event, though.
mhm. It depends. Yeah, definitely agree. It depends on like for instance,
Hmm.
Street Fighter this year came dangerously close to 512, and that is like if it went over 512,
Yeah.
that would have been another issue because you got to think about it this way: like there were 32 16-man brackets that are run. So in all, when you look at it, you have to look at it as a huge bracket that's put together, a huge 512-man bracket that is dwindling down all the way down, both on the winners and losers side. So if you go and you get now a 33rd bracket, now you have 528 man, and that doesn't it doesn't dwindle down evenly. So
Yeah.
you have to like, okay, do I want to do that or do I not do it? And like Evo has like what over 1,000, I think, that go for Street
Yes,
Fighter. So
yeah,
like you have to make sure that it's a mathematically
Sound.
acceptable in order to run it down to that particular. top 64, top 32, that even number. That's why it's always an even number. If you ever look at the brackets, they're always even numbers that they run down to, and there's a reason why you have to cap it. So yes, there does come a point where you definitely have to cap it, but I think what's going to happen personally is that we may just have to start running larger events,
Yeah.
and tournaments are going to have to run from day one to day two, or maybe even day three. We may get to the point where it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that'll be pretty cool when we get to that point.
There's different ways around it where you can still run it in a 3 day scenario, but again, it does depend on numbers. I mean, if you look at it from the standpoint of, I mean, take Marvel this year for instance. Marvel this year didn't really technically finish until going into Sunday.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a point in time where you have so many people set up for one game where you're not going to be able to run top 32 down to top 8 on Saturday. You're going to have to do top 32 Sunday morning and try to run it down until finals, and that's just one of those scenarios. I think we actually did that. I want to say we did that at a couple of our events. Like I want to say NEC one year we did that, where we had to run top 32 down to top 8, or at least top 16 down to top 8, where that was on stream. So, and especially if you ever do like free entry tournaments, like I know E's done a couple of them where we've done like, hey, free entry, but the cap's at 128.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah. I know you guys have done that for Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We did that for Tekken. We did that for Injustice one year. We did that for MK. We're doing that for bar battles. We're doing that. I want to say the cap is 48 for bar battles, but for MKX, we're doing a $500 pop bonus and free entry. So, and that's on April 25th.
Nice. All right, cool. Guys. Well, it's about 10:30 over here. I was going to say, if there's any last words or anything that you'd want to say or anything that you'd want to bring up.
You want to go, Buck?
I mean, as far as
I was going to say, any other events or anything going on in California or?
Yeah. Well, Paradise is coming up. Larry's doing Paradise in November of this year. I forgot the dates. I think it's like mid-November. And also the thing that I do, my company, Bracket Visionaries, we're going to start stuff again pretty much this year. We just had to, Kaya had to deal with his wife that just passed, and I had to deal with some school and life stuff. So hopefully pretty soon we're going to start off back again. And you can follow us on, at Bracket Visionaries on Twitter, or look us up on Facebook. We're there, or you can, tweet me at Calm Warrior JA on Twitter, or hit me up on Facebook. Doesn't matter. But we'll be doing stuff again pretty soon this year, and it's just just the regular stuff, nothing too serious, but definitely getting back into it because we love what we do, and trying to just make stuff better for the community so it can grow to the point where it's like league, where we're filling up stadiums.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I don't know if I want to be part of the floor plan for that.
No.
I'll get pulled from one end of the stadium to the other.
That would suck. Yeah.
On a serious note, I mean, as far as future events goes for like Big E Gaming, you gotta look at Bar Battles, which is at the Copacabana on 40th and Spruce in Philadelphia on the 25th of April. And then I have my next event, Go for Broke, round 2, which is going to be happening May 16th at DevNuts in Northern Liberties of Philadelphia as well. Both of which you can find those events on Facebook. You look up, Kyle McFarlane, look me up, look up Go for Broke. If you look up in events, look for Bar Battles. Both of those events are definitely on Facebook. I know my event's also on Test Your Might. You can look that up as well for my event in May. Other than that, nothing else that I can think of.
Cool. Okay.
Do you have anything going on over where you're at, Katie?
We have our Thursday nights. We always have our local scene and everything, and then once a month or so we have like a Rambats. Yeah. So it's pretty good. Yeah, everyone always meets up on Thursday nights at Carnegie Mellon and has a good time. Yeah, so it's pretty good. How about you, Bobby? Anything going on over there?
No, not really. Actually, the Cleveland guys actually started up another regional tournament. You might know Chris Gallion, who ran the Seasons Beatings events.
Right.
Starting to do a little bit locally. I have a little regional thing. So, I mean, if you guys are in the area, you guys want to come out, it's Cleveland Clash, and be sure to follow that's Twitter at GDL Entertainment. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. All right, well, I
guess
guess that's about it. Thank you guys so much for coming on. And, if you want to have any little shout outs or goodbyes or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm not a shout out type of guy. My friends know who they are. They know I love them, so that's about it. Yeah, my boy was like, shout out to the box arena from SD.
I'm with David on that. I don't really have too much to shout out, I guess. Shout out to any of the photographers that helped out with final round.
The pictures. There were so many ridiculous pictures.
Yeah, they were really cool.
Yeah,
They were good ones.
they were ridiculous pictures.
Yeah, shout out to Eric Stewart for going way past level 5 on Sunday night at Spawn Divots.
You're stupid.
Hey, look, you saw him the next morning, all right? I'm surprised he actually was able to walk.
Yeah, like I said, after work is done, definitely Final Round is a place to be. I won't lie to you. After work is done, it's definitely a place that you go to and shut it down.
I will say this: it was funny as hell watching Infiltration trying to hit on that girl at Spawn Divots. That's something that will never leave my mind.
Yo, what?
Not,
can we have a story time before we go?
All right. So story time. So
Nice.
Infiltration is trash, and he's with Flash, Metroid, Sherry, and forgive me, I forget who else he was with. He was with a couple of people, and they got Sherry to go over to this girl. She was Korean, Chinese. I don't know exactly. So forgive me. I'm not trying to be racist or anything. I can't tell you. And they're like, it's his birthday. He wants to drink with you. And she's like, this girl's like so completely nervous. She's like, maybe, I don't know. And I think they ended up drinking like what was it? It was like or it was like orgasm or blowjob. It was one of those like weird sexual drinks that they had at the place. Yeah, dude. And Infiltration is sitting there. He's just got this like that drunk smirk that every single one of us gets. And he's trying so hard to hit on this girl, and she wants nothing to do with him.
Aww.
I don't know. Yo, that's the story I heard, because basically what I heard from Eduardo was like Infiltration was talking trash, talking about that girl is mine. So
No,
I heard.
He was saying that in the corner. He was saying that in the corner with everyone else around him. He tried to go when he went up to this girl. Like, dude, when I tell you like scared cat in the corner look, like that's exactly what this girl looked like. Because it was Eduardo, it was Sherry, it was Flash, and it was a drunk Infiltration, and they're all sitting there with drinks like right up to her face, going, "He wants to drink with you," and she's like, "Maybe, sure, I don't know," and like some broken English, like it was funny.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's one of those things that I just looked at. Like I actually have pictures of him talking to that girl on my Instagram, and that was pretty funny. Yeah, that was entertaining to say the least.
Yeah, that was really something, because it was when was it? I think it was Friday night, because he was all over the place because of the jet lag. And that picture when he's like asleep like this on the Final Round website, I was actually sitting beside him, and I kept thinking, should I wake him up? But I felt so bad because he was so tired. I was like, oh, I can't do it, But yeah, he was out. He was just sitting there like, boy, he was really out of it,
Yeah, the only person that's wise enough about that right now is Daigo. Like, Daigo's the only person that he's always taking naps to deal with the jet lag. And like people think it's funny that he's always waking up and beating people up, which is cool and all, but like he's the only one that I've seen that's really smart enough to deal with the fact that he's always crossing time zones, so he's
Yeah.
always having to sleep. Yeah, that's about
Well,
it.
it's either that or he's just completely hammered off his ass. Like I'm sorry, Dave. Did you watch him stumble? Like literally, it was him. It was Fudo. I think it was. I want to say Bonchan was with him, and it was like two other of the Japanese players, and they're literally trying to carry him out of Spawn Divots as we're sitting down trying to get our dinner Sunday
Oh
night.
man.
Oh, I missed that. I missed that, dude.
You had your back to the wall. That's why. Yo,
Yeah.
he's like, and Eric Stewart is sitting there. He's running outside trying to take pictures of a drunken Daigo sighting. Like, dude, this man he could not walk straight. Like he had to be helped back to the hotel.
Yeah, that happens. That happens a lot when you come to Atlanta, though. I won't front. A lot of people really just come there to really let loose and enjoy themselves, especially after the tournaments are done on
Oh
the day.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't mind seeing somebody let loose. And I think he got knocked out pretty early, so he didn't have much responsibilities after, like, I think top 32, because he didn't make it to top 8. I know he didn't make it to top 8. I don't think so.
Yeah, might as well have a good time, Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, well, good time, guys. This was a great show. Thank you so much for coming on and explaining a
Thanks
little
for
bit
having
about your history, explaining about the history of final round, and definitely a lot of behind the scenes and preparations of what goes on for a tournament of that magnitude. It was
Yeah.
great.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Same. Thank you very much.
What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, good times tonight. Just gotta do my little spiel before we get out of here, guys. Our next session will hopefully be around Tuesday, April 14th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to follow us on Twitter at Meterburn TV or like the Meterburn Facebook page. You can also follow Miss Katie and myself at the respective Twitter names on the layout you see there. Be sure to follow these fine gentlemen on their respective social media surnames and whatnot. These are really great guys to know. I remember Kyle, the comeback kid, all the way back from like when I started traveling to like Winter Brawl, like 5 and 6, like that. So yeah, you guys are really chill. All right, guys, but we're gonna be heading out of here. So for all of these fine people and myself, we will be seeing you next time. Take care, guys.
All right.
Later.
All right. Bye.